Right after graduation, my brother threw me into the company as a janitor. My boyfriend thought my job was too lowly and got together with the vice president's daughter, then broke up with me. He said, "If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for not having a powerful father. But this company belongs to my family. My brother is a billionaire CEO. Lately, my boyfriend has been hot and cold with me, and his birthday happens to be this Friday. I plan to prepare a birthday gift for him to strengthen our relationship. I'll also take the opportunity to reveal my true identity to him. I just sent a message in the group chat, asking for suggestions on what gift to buy for my boyfriend. Su Wenqing, is our group leader coming back to life? Zhao Ying, Choo Choo, is your cleaning lady trial period over? Jiu Zhuzhu, fire the cannons. Let's warmly welcome our Wanwan back. Looking at the suddenly active group chat, I suddenly felt as if a light boat had passed through countless mountains to let me experience life. My brother threw me into a branch company to work as a cleaner right after I graduated from college. He told me that during this time, I was not allowed to mention his true identity to anyone or talk about my family situation. My brother also said that my boyfriend has character issues, but Zhu never looked down on me during the 2 years I worked as a cleaner, and he even endured hardships with me while renting a place together to repay him for not abandoning me over these 2 years. I want to give him a surprise. Back to the main topic. What birthday gift should I buy for Zhu Yang? Zhu Wenqing said, buy a game console. Men love playing games. Zhao Ying said, buying a watch is a man's face. I get it. Most of the clients at my family's 4S store are wealthy women. And when they come to buy cars, they bring along their young male companions. Giving a car is definitely the right move. Jiu Zhuzhu chimed in. That's right. My Song Yang absolutely loves his sports car. After everyone unanimously agreed, I reserved a Porsche 918 Spider at Zhuzhu's parents' 4S store. Looking at the 8-digit amount spent, I began to anticipate Zhu Yang's expression after receiving the gift. However, on the day of his birthday, Zhu Yang didn't come back. Calls went unanswered, and messages were left without a reply. Just as I was getting anxious and about to post a missing person notice, Zhu Yang suddenly posted a moment on social media. It was a photo of a birthday gift with the caption, "I really like your gift." Shortly after, Jiang Xini, the receptionist at the company, posted an identical photo with the words, "Glad you like it." Looking at the well wishes and likes under the social media post, I tightened my grip on the Porsche car key in my hand. I didn't sleep all night. The next day, Zhu Yang returned from outside, his face glowing with vitality. Just as I was about to ask what happened with last night's social media post, he spoke first. "Shen Choo Choo, let's break up." I looked up in astonishment. Why? I asked myself where I had ever wronged him. I never argued with him, nor did I ever act coy and ask for gifts beyond his means. I even complied when he said he didn't want the company to find out about our relationship. See this? Zhu Yang rolled up his shirt sleeve, deliberately showing me the watch on his wrist. It's just an ordinary watch. Right, what does it have to do with our breakup? I couldn't figure it out. Just an ordinary watch, nothing worth showing off. Seeing that I didn't recognize its value, Zhu Yang sneered, just goes to show you're destined to sweep floors for others your whole life. You don't even know what this is. This watch is called Omega, a world-famous brand. It costs over 100,000 on the market. To put it bluntly, with your brother's financial situation, he could never afford to wear one in his lifetime. Zhu Yang was beaming with pride, as if he had bought it himself. I stared at him in a daze, speechless. My brother would never wear such a cheap watch. He's wearing a custom-made Rolex. A single watch is worth a whole apartment in Thompson Riviera. This watch couldn't even buy one bathtub in my house. So what? I took a deep breath. I thought he would directly admit that he had fallen for someone else. At least he still had the virtue of honesty to show for it. Seeing my clueless expression, Zhu Yang's face instantly changed. "Shen Choo Choo, after all I've said, you still don't get it. Jiang Xini casually gives me a birthday gift worth over 100,000, and what about you? Besides holding me back, what can you offer me?" Clutching the car key worth over 10 million in my hand, I couldn't help but laugh bitterly. "So you want to break up with me just because I didn't buy you a 100,000 yuan watch? But Zhu Yang, what I was going to give you is far more valuable than that watch." Before I could finish, Zhu Yang coldly cut me off. "Are you going to say you were going to give me your love? Shen Choo Choo, wake up. We're not kids anymore. What good is love? I stared blankly at Ju Yang. He seemed like a completely different person. The man who had endured hardship with me while renting a place now appeared shallow and vain. Ju Yang continued. Do you know who Jiang Xinyi's father is? He's the company's vice president, and he only has one daughter. If I want to establish myself in this city, I have to rely on her father. Hearing this, my mind went completely blank. I don't know whether I should be sad or happy. Her father is the vice president of the company, but the company belongs to my brother. My brother is the CEO of the entire Universe Group with just one word from me, not to mention a branch company. Even 50% of the shares of the entire group, my brother would give them to me. I thought his reason for breaking up with me was already shocking enough, but what he said next completely overturned my understanding of him. He just said disdainfully, Shinchuchu, to be honest, I really look down on your job. The pay is low, and it's not even respectable. How could a supervisor like me be with someone who sweeps floors? Look down on. But he doesn't know that his position as a supervisor was also secretly promoted by my brother with his second-tier university degree and abilities. He doesn't even meet the threshold to enter the branch of Universe Corporation. What right does he have to look down on others? This society is very realistic. With my qualifications, I could easily choose a woman with a better family background. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for not having a powerful father. Listening to Ju Yang's almost contemptuous words, I felt a surge of anger inside. After all, we had been together for 2 years. Even raising a dog would have fostered some affection. I sneered coldly. Fine, I'll let you have your way. I hope you won't regret it in the future. Break up then break up. It's not like I'm short of suitors anyway. I went back to the room, packed his clothes, and threw his suitcase out. Get out. But Ju Yang looked at me with a sneer. This apartment is mine. The one who should leave is you. After speaking, he took out a property ownership certificate, which showed the date of the house purchase and the down payment from 2 years ago. In other words, the rental he found for me 2 years ago was actually a house he had purchased with a loan. Over these 2 years, the rent I paid was used to cover his mortgage, while he only paid for his own living expenses. I was so moved that I thought he was enduring hardship with me. I realized this only later. Suddenly, I was so angry that I laughed. Such a cunning and calculating man. I, Shinchuchu, actually hit the jackpot by meeting him dragging my luggage to the door. Ju Yang looked at me with an air of condescension. Shinchuchu, you haven't gotten your paycheck yet and you're penniless. You definitely won't find a place to stay. Alright then, since I'm moving in with Cindy anyway, I'll rent this place to you. Guys like me, who are willing to take in their ex-girlfriend as a tenant, are rare these days. I was left speechless by Ju Yang's shameless words. While mocking me, he still managed to praise his own character. I ignored him and directly pulled my luggage to the parking lot. I tossed the luggage into the Porsche and picked up my phone to call my brother. My brother and sister-in-law probably pulled another all-nighter. The phone was answered immediately when I called. What's up, bro? Are those villas in New Fu? No, one's still available. How could I casually touch your property? I've kept them all for you. 2 years ago, to test Ju Yang's character, my brother had me move out of the villa. My brother even made a bet with me that if Ju Yang passed the test, he would agree to let me marry him. 2 years isn't a long time, but it's enough to reveal a person's character. Unfortunately, Ju Yang didn't pass. Then have someone clean it up. I'll be back to stay in a couple of days. After hanging up the phone, I immediately booked a presidential suite at the Liston Hotel the next day at noon. Before I had even woken up, Ju Yang suddenly called and demanded that I repay his mother 4,985 yuan. I thought I had misheard. When did I ever owe his mother any money? We only had a meal together during last year's Lantern Festival, and he didn't even give me a red envelope for the occasion. Then he sent me a screenshot of a WeChat payment, with the recipient account showing a certain jewelry store. The gold necklace I bought for you back then was borrowed from my mom. Since we're not together anymore and the necklace is with you, of course you should pay it back. Gold necklace, I remember now. It was a gift from when he was first pursuing me. At that time, his salary was only 5,000, and I was blinded into being with him because he was willing to spend his entire salary on gifts for me. I never expected that. 2 years later, Ju Yang would still have the WeChat payment screenshot saved. He must have anticipated this day long ago, which is why he kept the evidence until now. The more I thought about it, the more disgusted I felt, so I immediately blocked and deleted him. After I deleted him, his mother called to curse me. Shinchuchu, How can you be so shameless? You and Ju Yang have already broken up. What right do you have to keep such an expensive thing? Pay it back, I sneered coldly. This bracelet was given to me by your son. You should go ask him for it. Although I'm not short of money, I don't want to let them off easy either. They tricked me into being the fool and paying off their loans for 2 years. And now they want me to return the money for the gifts too. There's no such thing as a free lunch in this world. Upon hearing my words, Ju Yang's mother anxiously said, "This is illegal possession. If you don't want me to call the police, you'd better return the money quickly." Just for a gold bracelet, you'd call the police to arrest me. Why doesn't she consider that just the tie I gave her son cost over 6,000, not to mention the belt at 13,000? Then shouldn't her son be sent to jail? I couldn't be bothered to listen to her threats and simply hung up the phone. But I still underestimated the shamelessness of this mother and son. When I went to the HR department to resign, Ju Yang's mother barged in, cursing and shouting, "How can you hire just anyone in this company, even a fraudster? Aren't you afraid of damaging the company's image?" The HR staff exchanged puzzled glances. "Auntie, what do you mean by that? It's her. After getting together with my son, she tricked him into buying a gold necklace for herself. Now she's broken up with him and kept the necklace all to herself." Ju Yang's mother pointed at me, her spittle nearly hitting my face. Cha looked at me, then whispered something to each other. I was flushed with anger by Ju Yang's mother. I never expected her face to be thicker than a city wall. In one sentence, she told 2 lies. After a moment, a female HR suddenly stepped forward to speak up for me. As far as I know, gifts given during a relationship are considered acts of giving and do not constitute fraud. If you believe there is fraud involved, you should report it to the police. However, I must remind you that if any party is found to have engaged in deception during the investigation, they could be detained for disturbing public order. Ju Yang's mother was taken aback for a moment, then immediately started acting like a hooligan. "Anyway, I don't care, she's just shameless. Cheating money and not paying it back. You should fire her and give me her salary." I laughed angrily. "Sorry, but I'm resigning today. I can pay back the money. But you should also tell your son to return the gift money to me." Without another word, I went to Alipay and transferred 4,985 yuan to her. Who would have thought that after receiving the money? The woman pretended to be confused. "When did my son ever receive gifts from you? Don't you dare slander him." Spouting nonsense, I opened the shopping website on my phone and threw the men's items I had bought for Ju Yang over the years right in her face. "Take a good look. This is the Hermes tie I bought for your son. 5,999 yuan. The Hermes belt, 13,000 yuan. The shoes, 8,000 yuan. Add up all the clothes and other miscellaneous items, and the total comes to 53,900 yuan. Ju Yang's mother glanced at it and shamelessly retorted, "How would I know if my son even accepted these? Who knows if you're two-timing and bought them for some other man? Besides, you're just a cleaner. How could you possibly have that much money? You're clearly making this up." I let out a cold laugh. It's true that mother and son are connected at heart. Even their way of doing things and tone of voice are equally disgusting. Don't play dumb with me. I have the delivery confirmation here. High-value items require personal pickup with ID. If that's still not enough proof, we can go to the 16th floor and ask your son in front of the whole company. Ju Yang's mother, afraid of ruining her son's future, flew into a rage. "Shenchuchu, my son gave you a place to live and food to eat. What's wrong with using a bit of your money? Do you have to be so stingy and insist on settling every penny? What girl is as shrewd as you? Thank goodness my son broke up with you early, or you would have swindled him out of all his money. Who's really the stingy one, and who's really the shrewd one, pretending to help me find a rental, then using their own property to rent it out and making me pay off their mortgage?" I was absolutely furious at her shamelessness and double standards, my body trembling with anger, since she didn't want the chance I gave her. Don't blame me for tarnishing her son's reputation. I removed Ju Yang from the blacklist and screenshot all of yesterday's chat records, then sent them to the company's main group chat. Not long after it was sent, the company's main group chat exploded. Onlookers, Supervisor Ju dated the company cleaner. Hilarious. He even asked for gifts back after a breakup. Less than 5,000 yuan. I thought it was millions. Who doesn't spend money when dating nowadays? Trying to freeload. I feel so embarrassed for manager Ju. After a few minutes, The company executive saw it and immediately sent a notice in the group chat, asking Ju Yang and me to go to his office. Ju Yang's mother saw me heading toward the elevator and instantly turned pale with fright. She grabbed my hand, preventing me from getting on the elevator. "Where are you going? You're not allowed to cause trouble for my son," I sneered. "Thanks to you, I posted your chat records in the company group. I'm afraid the whole company now knows what a piece of work your son is." Ju Yang's mother couldn't believe it and cursed viciously. "Shen Chuchu, you little bitch, how could you be so wicked?" As she spoke, she raised her hand to hit me, but she was stopped by the security guards who had just arrived. Ju Yang's mother struggled like a shrew. "Let go of me. I'm the mother of this company's supervisor. This bitch is just a cleaner. Who do you think the company will protect?" I sneered and pressed the elevator button to the 16th floor. When Ju Yang saw me coming up, he gritted his teeth and said, "Shen Chuchu, we've already broken up. What's wrong with my mother asking for the money back? How dare you ruin my reputation?" "There's nothing wrong with your mother asking for the gift money back, but is there anything wrong with me asking your mother for the money I spent on gifts for you?" I squinted at this unfamiliar face, inwardly laughing bitterly. How could I have ever thought he was handsome and considerate before? Ju Yang glared at me coldly. "Do you have to be so nitpicky with me? It's only natural for them to ask for gifts back. But when I do it, I'm being nitpicky." I was so angry I felt dizzy, and I couldn't be bothered to argue with him, so I walked straight into the office. Ju Yang followed behind, sneering, "Shen Chuchu, don't think that just because you came up here, someone will help you. I'm the supervisor of the company, and you're just a lowly cleaner. Who do you think the manager will side with?" After saying that, Ju Yang rushed ahead into the office. Once inside, he started chatting with the manager as if they were friends. Manager Su said with a smile, "I've been wanting to have a heart-to-heart with Supervisor Ju for a long time, but I never had the chance." "Supervisor Ju, what exactly is going on between you and the cleaner? Aren't you with the vice president's daughter?" I've long heard that Manager Su has been trying to cozy up to Ju Yang. Looking at this cheap act, it seems it's true. Ju Yang looked at me with some disdain. Some people finally managed to latch onto someone with good conditions, and now they're clinging on and threatening me, even causing a scene at the company. TSK. I looked at him with a face full of disdain. He looks decent enough, but unfortunately, he's a shameless scoundrel with no moral bottom line, yet he still knows how to flatter himself. The only reason he can sit in this position is because I had my brother promote him. Upon hearing this, Manager Su immediately glared at me coldly. "Shen Chuchu, as a cleaner, being able to date Supervisor Ju is a blessing you've earned over several lifetimes. Instead of being content, you've caused a scene at the company. Isn't it only natural that you should return the money? Did you think you could get rich by dating him?" I laughed in extreme anger. I never expected Manager Su to be such an unreasonable person. How on earth did someone like that become a manager? I'll have to ask my brother to thoroughly investigate whether anyone in his company is taking advantage of backdoor deals, so I should thank him for making me his girlfriend. I rolled my eyes in exasperation, not wanting to waste any more words on them. I threatened, "If Ju Yang doesn't return my money today, I'll cause a scene in the company. I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of person he is." Ju Yang's face instantly turned green. "Shen Chuchu, don't go too far." Manager Su also thought I was being unreasonable and immediately picked up the phone. "Security, come up and escort this cleaner out." As soon as the words were spoken, a man's voice suddenly came from the doorway. Quite lively. "What's going on?" "Yijin, I'm thrilled." Yijin is the special assistant to my brother, a real big shot. His status is so high that even the vice president here has to bow and scrape to him. Manager Su's attitude changed faster than flipping a book. He stood up respectfully from his seat, his face full of flattery. "Assistant Yi, what brings you here?" Yijin ignored his flattery, looking at me but questioning him. "Manager Su, what's going on here?" Manager Su, not understanding the situation, accused me of complaining. This ungrateful cleaner actually dared to ask for money back from someone Assistant Yi arranged to join the company. I think she's really desperate for money. Tell me, can money spent on love be taken back? Is that even reasonable? Such double standards. Just now you were saying it's only natural for Ju Yang to get his money back, but when it comes to me, it becomes outrageous. I was full of indignation. Ju Yang spent over 4,000 on me during our relationship, and he can ask for it back. Why can't I get back the tens of thousands I spent? Phut, Yijin couldn't help but laugh out loud. That's really outrageous. At this moment, I only felt both embarrassed and annoyed back then, when I insisted on having my brother arrange for Ju Yang to join the company. I blindly praised him to the skies. Now, with this slap in the face, how could it not sting? I told you he was no good from the start, you just wouldn't believe me, Yijin said to me, but this he was heard by manager Su as she. And he misunderstood it as referring to Ju Yang. Ju Yang also looked pleasantly surprised, scratching his head. I must have been blind back then to have been with Shinchuchu. Yijin's expression suddenly changed, and he sneered. When will director Ju realize that he didn't get this position based on his own abilities? Even if you can't recognize yourself, at least don't lose face as a man. Manager Su is truly a seasoned veteran. He immediately caught the underlying meaning in Yi Jun's words and quickly changed his tone, saying, yes, Supervisor Ju's relationship is a matter between two people. Since she has returned the money to you, you should also return the money to your ex-girlfriend. Otherwise, don't bother coming to work. Ju Yang's smile froze, and his expression turned ugly and embarrassed. His face alternated between shades of green and black. He was afraid of losing his job, so he reluctantly took out his phone and transferred 50,000 yuan to me, and even automatically rounded off my 900 yuan. I had already let him take enough advantage, but this time I decided not to let him have his way, so I said, there's still 900 yuan you haven't transferred. He argued with me over it, then I argued even more than he did. Ju Yang glared at me, then transferred another 900 yuan to me, gritting his teeth as he said, Shinchuchu, we were once a couple, is it really necessary to calculate 900 yuan so precisely? I sneered coldly. His mother had already calculated it down to the decimal point. How could I possibly fall behind? Satisfied, I put away my phone, gave Yijin a grateful glance, and walked away with a carefree stride. I heard after I left, Yijin hinted to manager Su to fire Ju Yang. However, Ju Yang had a girlfriend whose father held the position of vice president. The matter of dismissal was dropped after Yijin left. Moving back to the villa a few days later than expected, I got out of the taxi with my luggage, and a Mercedes 416 happened to drive past me. A moment later, the Mercedes suddenly reversed and stopped right in front of me. The car window rolled down, revealing Ju Yang's handsome face beaming with joy. Shinchuchu, what are you doing here? I froze for a few seconds. Instinctively, I thought of what Ju Yang had said earlier about moving out. So this was what he meant. Jiang Xini, sitting in the passenger seat, clung to Ju Yang's arm and cooed, honey, she couldn't possibly be here to apply for a nanny job. Could she? Ju Yang followed with a mocking laugh. Who knows, she was born to do this kind of dirty, exhausting work. There's no helping it. Before I could catch my breath to retort, they drove off laughing, leaving me alone with a look of utter defeat. Back at the villa, the more I thought about it, the angrier and more aggrieved I felt. I should have known better than to lend my Porsche to Su, wenching for her to show off and go joyriding. Now I have to take a taxi back and got mocked by that scumbag and his cheap girlfriend. After venting my anger, I immediately ordered a Ferrari. It was delivered to my doorstep the very next day. I drove my Ferrari and took Jiu Juju to Daikanyama to shop for clothes, and coincidentally saw Ju Yang and Jiang Xini in the luxury store. Baby, does this bag look good? Jiang Xini tried on one of the bags and turned to the man beside her. Ju Yang stiffened his neck. It looks good. It looks good. Everything looks good on you. Baby, it's just a bit expensive, perhaps because I was dressed too shabbily today. Even after being in the store for so long, not a single sales assistant came over to serve us. They all went to serve Jiang Xini and the others. I asked the sales assistants to bring me that crocodile skin bag, but they all pretended not to hear, either filing their nails or touching up their lipstick. Jiu Juju already had a princess complex, and being ignored like this only made it worse. She immediately raised her voice and shouted, "Hey, are the sales assistants all dead? Didn't you hear our Choo-Choo asking you to bring that bag over?" With just that one shout, even Ju Yang and the others turned to look at us. Noticing me, Ju Yang walked over with a condescending look. "Shinchuchu, did you walk into the wrong store? Can you even afford anything here? Aren't you afraid of being laughed at?" As soon as he finished speaking, I heard the other salesgirls snickering quietly nearby. I forced a smile. If I can't afford it, does that mean you can? I didn't want to waste my breath on such a person, So I asked the sales assistant to bring me the bag displayed in the center. However, the sales assistant didn't take me seriously and, just like Ju Yang, put on a disdainful attitude. The bags in our store are very expensive. If you can't afford it and end up damaging it, you'll have to pay for it. So, you're saying I can't even touch it? I retorted, the sales assistant, completely unaware of the seriousness of the situation, replied righteously, if every poor person like you came in just to touch things, how would our store stay in business? Okay, they're all the worst kind of snobs. Jiang Xini beside her couldn't resist adding a few sarcastic remarks. Don't make things difficult for the sales assistant. She's just following the store's rules. Since when has the store had such a written rule that you can't touch something if you can't afford it? I've never heard of this before. Is this how you treat customers when you open a business? I took out my phone. I dialed the manager's number here. Soon, Manager Chen hurried over anxiously. Miss Shin, long time no see. After exchanging a few pleasantries with me, he turned around and sternly reprimanded the sales associates who had neglected me. He then had them personally serve me tea and water, and even made them act as live models to continuously try on bags for me. This pink bag suits Miss Shin very well and complements your temperament perfectly. Would you like to keep it? Manager Chen said. I pointed at two of the best-selling green bags and said boldly, except for the green ones, pack up all the rest for me. Ju Yang thought I was just putting on a show. He leaned in close to my ear and sneered, Shinchuchu, don't try to act tough when you can't afford it. The measly 50,000 yuan I gave you out of pity isn't even enough to buy the cheapest bag here, let alone a dozen. He had that look on his face, just waiting to see me make a fool of myself, and it really made me want to slap him a few times, but force works both ways. Hitting him would hurt my hand too. I took out the bank card my brother had unfrozen for me and handed it to Manager Chen. Manager Chen accepted it with both hands and turned to go to the counter. The sound of the card reader suddenly rang out, followed by an announcement of the amount. Esteemed member, your total cumulative spending at our store has exceeded 35.8 million yuan. Everyone present was stunned by the amount that was announced. Their eyes wide with shock, Ju Yang stared at me in utter disbelief. After a moment, as if something had snapped in his mind, he grabbed my hand forcefully and demanded, Shinchuchu, how do you have so much money? Could it be that while you were dating me, you were also selling yourself out there? Have you been cheating on me? What a coward, so disappointing. How blind was I to have ever fallen for him? But thankfully, I cut my losses in time. I'll just think of the 2 years with him as being bitten by a dog. I deliberately wanted to disgust him. That's right. Are you the only one allowed to chase after a wealthy, beautiful heiress, while I'm not allowed to date a rich second-generation heir? How ridiculous. I ignored this crazy guy and asked the manager to pack all the bags and send them to my villa. After giving the instructions, I turned back and smiled at the stunned Jiang Xini. How are you going to buy it? Has your allowance not arrived yet? Jiang Xini pitifully turned her head and stared at Ju Yang with pleading eyes. Ju Yang, can we buy this bag? Seeing that the bag actually cost over 300,000, Ju Yang felt a pang of heartache and stiffened his neck. Xini, maybe we should check out other stores. This one doesn't seem to suit you very well. Jiang Xini's face instantly darkened. Ju Yang, you're not thinking of treating me the same way you treated Shinchuchu back then, are you? I even bought you an Omega watch, and now you're unwilling to buy me a bag. How can I convince my dad to entrust me completely to you if you act like this? Jiang Xini looked embarrassed. I sat there with my legs crossed, watching the drama unfold. I wanted to see what tricks my stingy, penny-pinching ex-boyfriend would use to persuade his current girlfriend to leave. After all, back then, when I asked him to buy me a bullet lipstick, he used saving money for the wedding house as an excuse, but I still underestimated Ju Yang's determination to become a live-in son-in-law. I saw him grit his teeth, take out his credit card, and say, buy it, as long as you like it, I'll buy it for you. In no time, Jiang Xini bought 3 in one go, and Ju Yang beside her looked as if his heart was breaking, appearing as though he had just had a kidney cut out. Jiu Zhuju leaned close to my ear and said angrily, damn Ju Yang, he's so generous to that woman, yet so stingy with you. Even $4,000 had to be paid back. Who says it isn't true? But I don't feel sad at all. Instead, I feel relieved. If a man like that only revealed his true nature after marriage, it would be too late. I felt so bored here, so I continued shopping at other stores with my friend. A few days later, I heard that Zhu Yang had his credit card maxed out by Jiang Xini. He owed over 400,000. That shameless guy actually sent a message to the WeChat of the man I was supposed to cheat with, so I forwarded my brother's WeChat to him. I wanted to see what he was up to again. I had my brother accept his friend request. The scumbag's first message was shameless. I'm Zhu Yang, Shen Chuchu's ex-boyfriend. I know Shen Chuchu was two-timing with you while she was with me. I know you really like her. Otherwise, you wouldn't have spent so much money on her. If you want to be with her openly and don't want her to be criticized, then transfer me 5 million as hush money. My brother looked at me and snorted coldly. So this is the man you chose? I couldn't bear to look at my brother after all. This time I was truly blind as a bat. I told him to block this jerk immediately, but unexpectedly, the jerk sent a barrage of messages. If you don't transfer the money to me, just wait and see Shen Chuchu's reputation ruined tomorrow. Zhu Yang is really dancing on the edge of my brother's bottom line. It's like he won't shed a tear until he sees his own coffin. So, Zhu Yang got fired. There were no signs at all. I was fired without any reason before I could even pay off my credit card debt, and the day he was fired happened to be the day I took over the company. When I passed by Manager Su's office with Vice President Jiang, I happened to see Zhu Yang pleadingly holding Manager Su's hand. Manager Su, I will definitely work hard. Please give me another chance. Don't fire me. I still have a mortgage and credit card bills to pay. After saying that, he turned to look at Jiang Xini. Xini, at least say something to Manager Su. Isn't your father the vice president of the company? Call your dad right now and ask him to keep me. Jiang Xini looked troubled. That's right, Manager Su, please don't fire Zhu Yang for my sake. I'll talk to my dad later. He'll listen to me. I watched Vice President Jiang beside me with great interest. Vice President Jiang really dotes on his daughter. Unexpectedly, Vice President Jiang suddenly walked into the office with a stern face and questioned Manager Su, what exactly is going on here? I followed him in. Upon seeing Vice President Jiang, Zhu Yang eagerly latched onto him like a lifeline, exclaiming, Uncle, I'm Zhu Yang, your daughter's boyfriend. You must protect me. Only then can I bring happiness to your daughter. How come I never noticed before that Zhu Yang could grovel so shamelessly? Vice President Jiang immediately darkened his face. What nonsense are you talking? When did I ever have a daughter? I didn't even know about it myself. I frowned, so Zhu Yang turned his head and questioned Jiang Xini. Jiang Xini, what on earth is going on? Didn't you say your father is the company's vice president? Jiang Xini panicked and grabbed Zhu Yang's hand. Zhu Yang, listen to me. It's not. Let go of me. What else is there to say? So you've been lying to me all along. Zhu Yang angrily pushed her away. And what about you? You're just pretending to be a rich second-generation kid, wearing designer brands to work every day. Anyone who doesn't know better would think you're some wealthy heir here to experience life. I couldn't help but chuckle. When I was dating Zhu Yang, I bought him all those designer clothes so he could save face at the company and avoid being bullied by the senior employees. Originally, I had planned to promote him to general manager after taking over the company. Unfortunately, he wanted to reach the top in one step and dumped me. Zhu Yang heard my laughter and only then noticed me. Shen Chuchu, what are you laughing at? What are you doing in the company? I gave him a disdainful look. After a moment, he pointed at me angrily and said, Shen Chuchu, was it you who pulled the strings behind my back to get me fired? I raised an eyebrow, not intending to hide anything either. To be precise, it was my brother who was pulling the strings behind the scenes. Zhu Yang seemed to have heard a joke. Your brother, a lousy delivery guy, has that kind of ability. Back then, to conceal my identity, I lied to him, saying my brother was a delivery man. He didn't show it at the time, but I never expected that he had always looked down on my brother in his heart. The more I thought about it, the angrier I became. Just as I was about to scold this Phoenix man, my brother walked in from outside with a few bodyguards. What's going on? Vice President Jiang and Manager Su immediately bowed and bent their backs upon seeing my brother, President. I walked up to him and took his arm. Brother, what brings you here? Brother, Zhu Yang looked shocked. Shen Chuchu, the CEO of Huanyu Group is your brother. You're the CEO's sister. Why did you hide it from me? Why should I tell you? I gave him a white-eyed look and pulled my brother into the office. Manager Sue, knowing my brother was the CEO, followed behind me with fear and trembling. The first day of work was very fulfilling. There was hardly any time to think about anything else after work. I never expected that shameless scumbag Ju Yang hadn't left. He had been sitting in the reception hall on the first floor the entire day. He knelt before me, holding my hand and repenting. Choo-choo, the one I love most in my heart is actually you. Will you forgive me? I ignored him and walked straight out, but Ju Yang wouldn't give up. Choo-choo, I know I was wrong. Give me a chance, okay? I just wanted to reach the top in one step because I was under too much pressure. Can you forgive me? I stopped in my tracks and looked at him coldly. Forgive you? Have you forgotten how you humiliated me when we broke up? You said I was a cleaner who couldn't be brought to the table, and that you looked down on me. That was because I didn't know your brother was the CEO of Cosmos Group. It's also your fault. If you had told me earlier that you were the CEO's sister, how could I have broken up with you? You're partly to blame too. Ju Yang glared at me. I was practically infuriated by his selfish and shameless remarks. So, it's my fault, is it? Choo-choo, I'm not blaming you either, but if you realize this, it's good. We both made mistakes, so let's make up, okay? I looked at him with disdain. What kind of manipulative talk is this? He's the one who's wrong, yet he's blaming me. I smiled, twirling the Porsche key in my hand. Ju Yang, do you know what I planned to give you on your birthday? It was a Porsche, but you were in such a hurry to interrupt me that you didn't even let me finish. Ju Yang's pupils trembled, filled with deep regret and pain. But so what? A social climber is still a social climber. I shook off his hand and walked away with a carefree air. After leaving the company that day, Ju Yang and his mother kept harassing me at my villa every other day. Choo-choo, it's all my fault for being blind. Please forgive Ju Yang. You two have been together for 2 years, and he truly loves you. Love me, more like love my money. If I were still a cleaner, would you be groveling like this now? I couldn't be bothered to expose her lies, so I just kicked them out. They still refused to leave, so I called the police. Seeing this, Ju Yang gritted his teeth and cursed at me. Shun. Choo-choo, you're so heartless. I really misjudged you. Mom, let's go. Thank you very much. After Ju Yang left that day, I heard they quickly moved out of my villa area. I heard the real owner of the villa had returned. It was said that Jiang Xini had come to the city to seek refuge with her aunt, who happened to work as a nanny in this affluent neighborhood. Coincidentally, the owner was away on a business trip, so her aunt kindly took her in. She thought Ju Yang was a wealthy second-generation heir and tried to build a persona to win his affection. I also heard that Ju Yang sued Jiang Xini in court to recover the 1 million he spent on her. However, that woman is no pushover either. She turned around and sued Ju Yang in court, accusing him of deceiving her for sex. In the end, Ju Yang's mother, afraid that her son would have a criminal record, hastily withdrew the lawsuit. Many years later, when Jiu Zhuzhu told me about this, she was still beaming with excitement. Guess what? Ju Yang's final outcome was not curious, gone to sweep the streets. I saw it on the street when I went shopping a while ago. Oh, time flies, and I've gone from a young girl everyone doubted to one of my brother's capable assistants, looking at the files my brother threw at me for his honeymoon. I'm going crazy with a headache. In the evening, Yizhen sent me a message. Little Shun, want to grab a drink? After Yizhen resigned from my brother's company, he went back home to take over his father's real estate business. It's been 5 years since I last saw him. Sure, see you after work, I replied. Now listen to the next story. I returned from studying abroad during the May Day holiday, only to find a future sister-in-law had joined the family. She declared she would teach me, her never-before-met younger sister-in-law, a lesson in public. She was gentle and graceful, but behind the scenes, she targeted me at every turn. Faced with my tolerance, she looked smug and said, I am the future mistress of this household, the young lady of the Liu family. You'd better be polite to me, or I'll have your brother kick you out. I just smiled. No one told her that my brother was adopted. I am the only heir of the Liu family. Even my brother has to watch my mood. It was the May Day holiday, and the airport was packed with people, yet I still spotted my brother in the crowd at a glance, there to pick me up. When my brother brought me home from the airport, my parents were eagerly waiting for me. Having been studying abroad, I hadn't returned home in a long time, and everyone was incredibly excited. After exchanging greetings with my family and sharing how much I missed them, my brother then brought a strange woman over to me. A bit shyly, he introduced to me, this is my girlfriend. Your future sister-in-law, Ju Weiwei. Then, turning to her with a slight nod, he said, this is the sister I often talk about, Lu Muzang. You can call her Xiao Mu. Hello, she said with a proper smile, extending both hands toward me. I was still immersed in the excitement of returning home after greeting her. I turned back to continue chattering non-stop with my parents that evening. I stuck close to my mom. According to her, this Ju Weiwei was someone my brother met at the branch office he oversees. She's still an intern, but she's simple and gentle. My brother is absolutely smitten with her. They hadn't been together long before he brought her home, saying he wanted to marry her. I was as excited as if I'd stumbled upon a juicy piece of gossip. And then, is my brother really getting married? Your dad and I would naturally prefer someone from a similar background. But if he insists, there's not much we can say. If he truly loves her, we'll let him have his way. My mom has always been open-minded, so I wasn't worried about my brother, but I never expected that when I saw Ju Weiwei the next day, I realized I had truly underestimated her due to jet lag. I woke up in the late afternoon. I got up and went downstairs to find something to eat. While I was sitting at the dining table having breakfast, a leisurely voice came from behind. Sister, you just woke up at this hour. Your brother has already been at the office for half a day. Are you okay? A wave of question marks floated over my head. I turned my head. It was Ju Weiwei who made the sound. Are you talking to me? I was a bit incredulous. She rolled her eyes, her pupils nearly flipping to the sky, holding her arms. She slowly walked down the stairs. Wow, she already carries herself like the lady of the house. She seemed normal in front of my parents yesterday, but now she can't wait to show me her attitude when they're not around. Otherwise, is there a third person in this room right now? Her tone was unmistakably unfriendly, so it seems I didn't misunderstand her. After the initial shock, I just found it amusing. I thought you were talking to someone else. After all, we're not close, so don't call me little sister. I don't have any older sisters in my family. I choked on my words and turned back to continue eating. What kind of person is she? My brother must have been blinded by lard to actually fall for her. She continued walking up to me, just about to speak with a fierce tone when the sound of the front door opening was heard. Ju Weiwei immediately switched to another expression, looking fragile and speaking in a tone completely opposite to her previous sarcasm. Don't be angry, little sister. If you feel I'm not worthy of calling you that, I won't call you that in the future. So there really is such a textbook-level green tea in the 21st century. Doesn't she feel it's too fake herself at that moment? My mother and my brother walked in together, seeing Ju Weiwei looking pitiful and aggrieved. They were somewhat puzzled and quickly came over to ask, what's wrong? What happened? Seeing that my brother had returned, Ju Weiwei became even more dramatic, even managing to squeeze out 2 tears that welled up in her eyes, making her look truly pitiful. It's okay, sis. Oh no, I mean, Xiao Mu doesn't like me calling her little sister. I won't do it anymore. I thought it would make us seem closer, but I didn't expect it to upset Xiao Mu. I didn't mean to, and I won't call her that again. I was quite shaken by these words. Having lived for over 20 years, I had never encountered a real drama queen, and this certainly opened my eyes. My mom then tried to smooth things over, saying, oh, it's such a small matter, no need to get upset. My brother also chimed in. Xiao Mu might just be in a bad mood after waking up. Maybe she hasn't adjusted to the time difference since returning from abroad. Don't take it to heart. He gave me a wink and then, with his arm around the pitiful Ju Weiwei, headed back to the room to comfort her. Even without continuing to eat, I was already full from anger. My mom looked at me and asked what was going on. I said it was nothing. I'm going to see what other tricks this person can come up with. I had just returned to the country. Like an animal that had been starving for a long time, every day, I went out to meet up with old friends, eating and drinking to my heart's content, determined to make up for all the meals I had missed over the years during this time. I originally had no time to pay attention to Ju Weiwei, but unexpectedly, a friend brought it up on their own. How are you getting along with your future sister-in-law? She's not an ordinary person, is she? The one speaking was my childhood friend Zhao Chen. His expression and demeanor were exactly that of someone who knows everything but refuses to say it, waiting for you to ask. A truly annoying look. He's been like this since we were kids. I glanced at him and, as he wished, said, if you have something to say, just spit it out. He smiled even more slyly. That girl is an intern at your family's company. She hasn't been there long, but she's already completely charmed your older brother, that big fool. I scoffed. Is that all? You don't have to tell me, everyone knows that. Give me something I don't know. Zhao Chen wasn't annoyed and continued. Well, did you know that this person has only had one goal since joining the company? To seduce your brother. Now she's going around calling herself the young lady of the Lu family, flaunting that identity everywhere. I finally turned to look at him. Zhao Chen smugly pulled out his phone and showed me a few screenshots of conversations between Zhu Weiwei and her friends. Lu Yuan has already fallen for me. What rich playboy. In front of me, Zhu Weiwei, he's just obediently bowing down. Lu Yuan took me home to meet his parents. The Lu family's house is so big, and there are even maids to serve us. I must hold on tight to this. Lu Yuan's sister is coming back soon. In families like this, sisters-in-law are always potential trouble. When she gets home, I'll give her a good warning. How foolish, to dare brag about such things, really. Can't keep calm, I thought to myself, then turned to look at Zhao Chen. And what's your relationship with the person in the screenshot? Zhao Chen chuckled with a sly grin, and I looked at him with disdain, though he remained unfazed. What's the big deal? It's a mutual agreement, each getting what they need, not like your brother, yet. I couldn't help but keep an eye on Zhu Weiwei. From what I've observed, although she's called Weiwei, her ambitions are anything but small on the surface. She appears gentle, kind, and innocent, never competing for anything, never asking for anything. But in reality, she has never shortchanged herself. She had my brother officially hire her, promoted her, and placed her in a cushy position within the department, from occasionally staying over. She has almost completely moved into our home. She is very good at playing the victim and knows how to win people over in this household. Aside from me and the housekeeper, she greets everyone with a smile. Pleasing my parents is like pleasing my future in-laws, and coaxing my brother is to get married quickly and become the real Mrs. Lu. Only when it comes to me, her sister-in-law, she can't even be bothered to pretend. When she saw the late-night snack that Aunt Wang brought me, she started making a fuss, demanding to have some too, but it was already very late by then, and the soup had been simmering for hours. It's definitely too late to make it now, and Aunt Wang is about to go to bed as well. Hearing Aunt Wang's reluctance, she immediately put her hands on her hips and put on the airs of a young mistress again. What? Can't I even get a bowl of soup made when I want one? Are you a maid of the Lu family or a lady here to enjoy life? Am I not even allowed to ask you to do something? Aunt Wang had no choice but to go and make it for her. She was always so domineering, yet in front of my parents, she would give in to me everywhere. As for me, I couldn't be bothered to put on such a clumsy act with her and never gave her a good look. This contrast made me seem like the unreasonable one. I once tentatively asked my brother, "Are you really going to marry Zhu Weiwei? Do you truly know her?" My brother just thought I was acting childish and said he would marry her in the future, hoping I could get along well with her. My parents also treated Zhu Weiwei better and better. Zhu Weiwei would accompany my mom shopping and buying bags. No matter what my mom took a liking to, she would praise my mom's taste, making her beam with joy. Of course, she would often receive gifts from her future mother-in-law, exchanging emotional value for material value, and both were quite satisfied. My brother naturally enjoyed seeing their harmonious mother-in-law and daughter-in-law relationship in this family, only I didn't like her. This disparity became increasingly apparent, and I ended up looking like the villainous sister-in-law because of this. Zhu Weiwei faced me with even more confidence, treating me even more harshly in places where my parents couldn't see. "Your sister's room is really spacious. After I marry your brother, can we swap to this room? After all, you'll be getting married and moving out eventually. I think the lighting and space here are the best. It would be such a waste to leave it unused." It sounded like a question, but the tone was more of a statement. So she had her eyes on my room from the very beginning. I glanced at my brother standing nearby, but he didn't say a word. Furious, I laughed coldly. "Oh, really? You haven't even married into this family yet, and you're already thinking of taking my room? Besides, since you've already landed my brother, shouldn't he buy you your own marital home when you get married? Why do you have to cling to my family's house? Xiaohui, don't talk nonsense." My mom heard me say that and walked over. "Weiwei, don't take her seriously." My mom even turned to comfort Zhu Weiwei, then said to me, "Is that something you should say? Hurry up and apologize to your brother and Weiwei." I won't, even though I realized I shouldn't have said that. I didn't want to do it in front of Ju Weiwei. Seeing that my mom was also on her side, Ju Weiwei looked at me with an even more arrogant expression. It's okay, auntie, Xiaomu is just throwing a tantrum, we definitely won't move out. Lu Yuan and I are going to stay with you, and I'll take care of you in your old age. After giving me a challenging look, she effortlessly flattered my mother with her words. My brother also chimed in as a peacemaker. It's not Xiaomu's fault. Weiwei teased her by saying she wanted to swap rooms, and Weiwei actually took it seriously, turning to me as if coaxing a childish younger sister. He said, "Your sister-in-law was just teasing you, don't be upset, okay?" My mother also repeatedly praised her for being understanding, asking why I had become so petty and criticizing me for being intolerant, saying it was just a joke watching the wedding preparations actually begin. I finally started to panic. I couldn't let her really marry into our family. There was no way I could live with such a drama queen taking advantage of a day when Ju Weiwei wasn't at our house. I called a family meeting with my parents and my brother. I don't agree to Ju Weiwei marrying into our family. As soon as these words were spoken, my parents and my brother all looked at me. My mother said, "Xiaomu, don't make a fuss." My brother, on the other hand, seemed unsurprised, just as your sister-in-law predicted. You really don't agree? Well done. She even predicted this. My brother seemed somewhat helpless. Why exactly are you dissatisfied with Weiwei? You find fault with her everywhere. When she told me, I didn't believe it. But I never expected you would still make things difficult for her at a time like this. As he spoke, my brother had a look of sympathy for her. Xiaomu, for my sake, please stop targeting Weiwei. Okay, if you really don't like her, after we get married, I'll move out so you two don't have to live together. Alright, it seems Ju Weiwei had already given my brother a heads up. Anything I say from now on, he'll just think it's an excuse because I don't like Ju Weiwei. She really is cunning. I knew there was no point in saying more. So I directly pulled out those chat records between Ju Weiwei and her friends. Seeing is believing. They should finally believe it now. I took out the screenshots one by one to show them, but my brother remained unmoved. After just a couple of glances, he answered me decisively. There's no way Weiwei would say these things. I knew he would say that, so I pulled out the full screen recording, starting from the account all the way to the real name information, all captured in it. My brother's expression finally shifted from complete trust in her to a more scrutinizing look, including listening to the audio. "Come be my bridesmaid on my wedding day." It was Ju Weiwei's boastful tone. "I'm about to become the young mistress of the Lu family, and then I'll go live a life of ease and luxury," her so-called good friend replied. "So the good news is coming soon, congratulations. But being a daughter-in-law in a wealthy family isn't easy. Whether you'll be enjoying life or suffering is still uncertain. You'd better take care of yourself. It seems this so-called friendship isn't genuine. One is showing off, and the other is full of envy. His parents are easy to fool, and they're getting old. Once I'm in the door, they'll have to listen to me. It's just his sister who always opposes me. When the time comes, I'll find a way to drive her out so she doesn't get in my way at the old house anyway. She's just a girl and won't inherit any family business. Everything in the Lu family will belong to my husband. He told me himself that he's going to take over in the future." Before I could finish listening to the long voice message, my brother hurriedly turned it off. I didn't listen to what came next, but the expressions on everyone's faces in the room weren't too good. My brother hadn't yet recovered from the shock of his little wife's drastic change in demeanor when he heard her expose his selfish motives, panicked and guilty. He didn't even have the mind to speak up for his beloved fiancée anymore, just nervously looked at our parents. My brother couldn't help but swallow hard. "Dad, Mom, no, that's not how it is. I never said anything like that. She's making it up." My dad just looked at him with a scrutinizing gaze, not saying a word. This made my brother even more nervous, sweat beading on his forehead. "Let's put the marriage plans on hold for now." My dad finally spoke up, dropping this line before getting up and heading back to his room. My mother also followed my father's departure, leaving only me and my brother Lu Yuan. Neither of us spoke first. It felt like a long time had passed, and I finally couldn't stand the oppressive atmosphere any longer. Breaking the silence, "I never expected things to turn out like this. I was just afraid you'd be deceived, but I never thought it would end up like this." I didn't know what else to say, and my brother finally spoke up, saying, "I know." His eyes, hidden behind his glasses, remained fixed on the ground, lost in thought. I also returned to my room. Zhao Chen had sent so many voice messages and screenshots. How could I possibly listen to them all? I was solely focused on making my family see Zhu Weiwei's true colors, never expecting things would end up like this. Before long, my father came knocking on my door. He wanted to listen to the voice messages from earlier. Since I was the one who found the materials, my brother's interruption was naturally useless. My father listened to the entire recording with a furrowed brow, his expression growing increasingly grim. As a prominent figure in the business world, being portrayed as a fool who could be easily manipulated by Zhu Weiwei in her words, how could he not be angry? I was also restless, cursing this Zhu Weiwei while pleading for my brother. This damn Zhu Weiwei, how dare she say such things? Dad, these words might not have been spoken by my brother. It's possible that Zhu Weiwei is just talking nonsense. Please don't get angry. The Lu Yuan in Zhu Weiwei's words, my gentle, steady, and sensible brother, had turned into a stranger who wanted to monopolize my family's assets, disregarded me, and was even eager to replace my father's position. It was indeed hard to accept all at once. I had been back and playing around for quite a while, and it was time to start working at our family company. My father assigned me to my brother's branch office, and I was placed in the same department as that Zhu Weiwei. Also my father's decision. You never know until you go, but once you're there, you realize Zhu Weiwei really puts on quite the airs. She doesn't do any work, she's all about flirting, and she expects people to wait on her hand and foot. The intern in the department walked in, carrying coffee, grumbling angrily. She's a newcomer too, so why do I have to fetch tea and run errands for her? Am I here to work or to be her nanny? Zhu Weiwei sat in my brother's private office, filing her nails while waiting for someone to bring her coffee. When the intern came in, she didn't even look up, just gestured with her chin and said coolly, "Put it here." What a show of authority, and she hasn't even been made permanent yet. Acting like this already, I couldn't help but speak up, and she was startled by my sudden entrance, hurriedly putting away the nail tools on the table. After realizing it was me, she asked in surprise, "Why is it you? What are you doing here? How absurd, this is my family's company. Why are you asking me what I'm doing here? You're here to work. Why didn't your brother tell me?" She still spoke in a tone of suspicion. "Who do you think you are? What makes you think I need to talk to you?" I looked straight at her and replied, throwing in an eye roll for good measure. "Really think you're my sister-in-law now? Ever consider whether you're even worthy?" I deliberately raised my voice, making sure colleagues outside could perk up their ears and listen. Zhu Weiwei couldn't save face and stood up to confront me. "Of course I'm your sister-in-law. Your brother is already planning the wedding, and we're about to get married soon. Everyone in the company knows this. Is this how you speak to me? Is this your upbringing and manners? Do you even have the nerve to talk about upbringing and manners? Haven't you noticed that my brother has been avoiding you lately? Your wedding plans have long been at a standstill, haven't they?" My sarcasm was unmistakable. Are you really too foolish to notice, or are you just too afraid to admit it? Zhu Weiwei seemed lost in thought, her expression turning unpleasant. But how could she possibly show weakness in front of me? Having grown accustomed to acting high and mighty here, she refused to admit the fact that she had just been publicly humiliated. "Then just wait and see how I marry your brother. When the time comes, you'll have to respectfully call me sister-in-law, and I might just tolerate you." After saying that, she picked up the designer bag my brother had given her and walked away with her head held high. How ridiculous. You might not tolerate me, but whether my family even tolerates my brother is another matter entirely. Zhu Weiwei is determined to become my brother's wife, to enjoy wealth and status, to look down on everyone, even me, a daughter of the Lu family. But no one ever told her that my brother, Lu Yuan, is just an adopted son of the Lu family. He grew up in our home, always cautious with his words and actions. My parents treated him as if he were their own, but only out of respect for his deceased father. His father was my dad's driver before retiring and returning to his hometown, where he unfortunately fell victim to a natural disaster. Both husband and wife passed away, leaving behind Lu Yuan, who had just started elementary school. He was sent to an orphanage, and it wasn't until my parents found out about the situation that they brought him back from there. My parents, out of respect for his father, funded his education, never expecting that he would be bullied by others at school later. seeing that he was well-behaved and sensible, they decided to adopt him as their foster son, changed his surname, and publicly referred to him as their biological son. My brother grew up in our family, and after graduation, he was naturally arranged to work in our family's company, and he never made any mistakes. It's just that this relationship he's in is really not something to be proud of, and it has even led to all these troubles. Zhu Weiwei indeed went to make a scene with my brother, but after just a few times, my brother found excuses to avoid seeing her. My brother hasn't been idle these past few days either. He finally used his head and went to investigate Zhu Weiwei's character and background. The confused person who had fallen into the trap of love finally came to his senses. My brother returned home with a thick stack of documents, his face dark and gloomy. At that time, my parents and I were all in the living room. It's all fake. He wearily took off his glasses. Zhu Weiwei actually lied to me. She said she was an orphan, so I took extra care of her, thinking of my own childhood. Later, she kept approaching me, and because of our similar backgrounds, we grew closer. I never expected it was all a lie. Her gentleness was fake, her family background was fake, and even her affection was fake. My brother looked utterly heartbroken. Mom, Dad, this person approached me with an agenda from the very beginning. You must not believe a word she says. You're talking nonsense. What do you mean by my kind? It was you who actively pursued me, and it was you who promised to give me everything. Now you're denying it. Aren't you? Zhu Weiwei rushed out from upstairs. My brother hadn't expected her to be here. Zhu Weiwei had arrived over an hour ago. After failing to get any results from confronting my brother, she had come to our house. As soon as she entered the door, she tearfully begged me to agree to their marriage, then knelt down and pleaded with my parents, saying she was already pregnant with the Lu family's flesh and blood, and asking our family to grant her wish. She was crying so pitifully, with tears streaming down her face. My mother just felt a headache coming on, comforted her a few words, and told her to go back to her room to rest before heading upstairs. She turned back and instructed Aunt Wang, remember to stew some black chicken soup and make a Buddha jumps over the wall. I'll have some later to nourish myself. That thing that looks like a belly gave her confidence, and now she feels even more justified in bossing around my family's nanny. But before I could even take a sip of the soup, and before the house had a moment of peace, my brother came back. Hearing him say that, Zhu Weiwei was furious and no longer pretended to be pitiful. She simply tore off the mask and confronted my brother directly. Those words were exactly what you said. You said you've worked tirelessly for the family all these years and that you're bound to take over the Lu family's responsibilities in the future. You also said that Lu Muzang is just a girl and not worth worrying about, that everything in the company will be yours someday. You told me that as long as I gave you a child, I'd be set for life. Those were your exact words. Zhu Weiwei screamed at the top of her lungs, completely unlike her usual delicate demeanor. Rushing over to confront my brother panicked and tried to cover her mouth. What nonsense are you spouting, you wretched woman? Zhu Weiwei broke free and knelt before my parents. I'm carrying the Lu family's flesh and blood. Either marry me or give me a sum of money. I'm an innocent girl. I can't just drag around a big belly without a name or status. Your family owes me an explanation, or I'll die right here. Upon hearing this, my brother tightly shut his eyes. I set down the fruit I was eating and slowly began to speak. You're right, getting someone pregnant does indeed require taking responsibility. Zhu Weiwei looked up at me, her eyes shining, thinking I was speaking up for her. But what does this child have to do with my family? I picked up a toothpick and speared a piece of watermelon. Zhu Weiwei widened her eyes. What do you mean? This is the Lu family's child. Are you saying you won't acknowledge it? I can take a paternity test. This is definitely the Lu family's child. Stop talking. I told you to stop talking. Lu Yuan stopped Zhu Weiwei from continuing. My father rubbed his temples, which were throbbing from the noise. Since you two have already reached the point of discussing marriage, hasn't Lu Yuan told you? He is my adopted child. He seemed somewhat irritated but still tried to maintain a calm tone. All these years, I can say I have a clear conscience toward you. It's just that your ambitions are too great. Zhu Weiwei was struck as if by lightning the moment my father spoke. She never could have dreamed that her Prince Charming, her wealthy second-generation husband, was not my parents' biological child. That made her earlier threat using the child in her womb utterly ridiculous. If the son isn't even biological, what does a grandson matter, she collapsed onto the floor, no longer having the energy to get up and argue with me. It was like drawing water with a bamboo basket. All for nothing. She had flaunted it in front of everyone, but her dream of becoming a wealthy lady had completely evaporated. My brother, however, grew anxious. For so many years, our family had kept silent about his origins, treating him as one of our own, but today, my father openly spoke about the matter, clearly heartbroken. Dad, I really didn't do it. I've worked diligently for the company all these years. Dad, you have to believe me. My brother was so anxious he was almost in tears, but his words carried little conviction. After hearing Zhu Weiwei's voice message that day, my father secretly investigated my brother and discovered his embezzlement at the branch company, along with his collusion with the finance department to transfer funds. Naturally, he wouldn't take such claims at face value, but he never expected his own son, whom he had raised with his own hands, to be so despicable. My father still coldly told him, "Go deal with your own issues first. The company doesn't need your concern for now." My brother's face instantly turned ashen with fear. In his panic, he knelt down and clung to my father's leg. "Dad, give me another chance. I was wrong. I truly know I was wrong. It's just that my dad is decisive and resolute. Once he's made up his mind, even if it means completely severing the father-son bond, don't call me Dad anymore. I've raised you on behalf of your father until now. You've graduated, and you're about to start a family. I've done all I can. How could my dad not be heartbroken? The effort, money, and emotions he invested were no less than my mom's, and yet such nurturing ended up raising a wolf in the family." My dad lowered his head and pried away the hands that were tightly holding onto him. "Move out. Don't stay here and annoy me anymore." My brother turned his head and looked pleadingly at my mother. In our family, she had always doted on him the most, but this time, even she was unwilling to speak up for him. The next day, my brother was driven out of our home. All his and Zhu Weiwei's belongings were packed up, and the clothes and jewelry my mother had bought for her were not allowed to be taken away. Zhu Weiwei was furious but knew she had no right to make a scene given her status. She could only retort softly, "But these were gifts from the madam at the time. How could the Lu family, with all its wealth and influence, go back on their word?" While picking out items, Wang Ma looked at Zhu Weiwei as if she were a fool. What the madam gave was for the daughter-in-law of the Lu family, not just anyone. "Since you are no longer part of our family, you naturally cannot take away what belongs to us." Wang Ma had endured her bossy attitude for a long time, and finally driving her out felt incredibly satisfying. That evening, my father held a press conference, announcing that Lu Yuan would no longer have any ties with our family. Out of consideration for their years of friendship, my father did not reveal all of Lu Yuan's misdeeds to the public, ultimately preserving his dignity. Worried that there might be trouble in the future, my parents, at my reminder, went to get a legal notarization done. Lu Yuan, or rather, he should be called Zhong Wen now, initially refused to cooperate, thinking that as long as he was legally the son of the Lu family, there would still be a chance for him to return. My father only said one thing. "I already know about your dealings with the finances. If you don't want to end up in prison, handle this with dignity." Stripping away his status as a family member wasn't too complicated, and the entire process was completed smoothly. When parting, my mother couldn't hold back her tears. My father only said to Zhong Wen, "Take care of yourself." After more than a decade as family, we ultimately went our separate ways. My parents were still sad for a long time, with one less person in the house. The atmosphere became quite somber. Zhong Wen and that Zhong Weiwei moved out. Although he is no longer my brother, my father did not drive him to the wall and still gave him a house to live in. He did not make his actions public. Although he was dismissed, he could still find other jobs to make a living. He and Zhu Weiwei are truly a match made in heaven. After all that commotion, they still haven't broken up. Perhaps Zhong Wen is still a decent match for Zhu Weiwei. Although he left the Lu family, he likely made quite a bit of money back when he was with my family. Zhu Weiwei, still heavily pregnant, couldn't face her own social circle anymore and had no choice but to cling tightly to Zhong Wen. However, unlike their previous affection, now there was only mutual disgust. In this kind of life, they truly got to know each other. Unlike Zhu Weiwei's manipulative tactics, Zhong Wen was the truly extreme one. He appeared to be a gentle and emotionally stable man, but in reality, he was vindictive and cunning. Not long after, I heard that Ju Weiwei had a miscarriage. The reason is unclear, but I know it must be related to my cheap brother. He was deceived emotionally and lost the opportunity with the Lu family because of her. How could he easily let her go, sitting in the booth at the bar? I listened to Zhao Chen relay the latest news about Zhong Wen and Ju Weiwei, sighing with regret. After all, he was the brother I grew up with. Sigh. Everyone around me, seeing my sad expression, grew indignant. Don't be upset, little Lu, it's all because of those heartless people. Fortunately, you found out early and drove them out sooner rather than later, avoiding a bigger disaster in the future. Yes, you can know a person's face but not their heart, after all these years of your family's nurturing. Even raising a dog would create some affection, yet he treated you like this. Now it's good, two drama queens are tearing each other apart. Evil people will always be dealt with by other evil people. Don't say that, I said with reluctance, interrupting my friend's judgment of the two of them. After all, he was the brother I called for over a decade. Even though we have no relationship now, and my dad won't let me help him, we were still siblings once. I don't want to gossip about him, so please don't say any more. After speaking, I stood up and went to the restroom as if recalling something sad. The moment I entered and closed the door, I almost burst out laughing. Yes, who would have known? The purpose of my return to the country was to reclaim all of this. Of course, I deliberately let my father hear the recording. The ambition of his most trusted adopted son needed an opportunity for him to notice. This was far more convincing and infuriating than confronting him directly. Ju Weiwei is not my person, but I had already investigated her character before returning to the country. I needed her to tear open the facade of familial harmony in my family. She certainly did not disappoint me. It seems my brother really does like this Ju Weiwei. After being so cautious and reserved in our family for so many years, he only revealed his true thoughts in front of her. Perhaps it was Weiwei's fabricated orphan identity that made him let his guard down. Or maybe he saw a reflection of his former self, emerging from such a dark childhood to achieve success and fame, which led him to become arrogant and lose his sense of proportion in front of Ju Weiwei. Once my father suspects something, he will definitely investigate until he gets to the bottom of it. Once the truth comes to light, our family will certainly have no place for him. Lu Yuan's actions towards my family were, of course, spread around. My father gave him face, but I dared not give him another chance, so it was understandable that I let slip a few sad words after getting drunk at a gathering with friends. Of course, I knew that Zhong Wen's words came from the heart. The longer he stayed in my home, the more he felt that everything should belong to him. I am the only girl in my family, so I pose no threat. Besides, my father has a bit of a preference for sons, so it's only a matter of time before he takes over as chairman. It's just that my brother is too impatient. And his taste in girlfriends is not even half as sharp as his scheming mind. Back then, it was also him who strongly persuaded my parents to send me abroad for studies, every time I wanted to return. He cleverly came up with reasons to stop me. Watching him climb higher and higher, how could I not feel anxious? So while I studied financial management, I had old friends back home keep an eye on my family's movements. When that foolish Weiwei went around gossiping with others, I knew it was time for me to return. There was no need for an elaborate scheme. By using this meddlesome woman and occasionally adding fuel to the fire, I could eliminate the biggest threat in my family. Even if someone found out, so what? I didn't really do anything wrong, did I? I naturally took over my brother's position and performed better and better. That branch company wasn't my only stage. I naturally put in the effort for my own business. That day I secured a major deal for the family. After the celebration banquet, as everyone dispersed, I sat across from my father. My father's eyes were filled with unconcealed admiration and pride. My daughter has truly grown up, so capable. His eyes were full of contentment. Before I could respond to the praise, my father spoke again. Even if your brother were still here, you would still be the Lu family's sole heir. I remained silent. My father smiled and said to me, I know everything. You don't need to work so hard. These things wouldn't be taken away from you anyway. I forced a bitter smile, my lips twisting awkwardly. You don't know, when I first brought Lu Yuan home, I overheard you telling Mom, if only we had a son of our own. Back when I was still in high school, you said, the family business needs someone to take over. This kid is smart. I can see he's got potential. If only Lu Yuan could marry our Xiao Mu, everything would fall into place naturally. You have no